Ooh. Hey everyone, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Grace. I am not new, actually. I used to do this a long time ago and I stopped. I'm not sure why I stopped. Honestly, it could have just been my health that made me stop. But basically, I started my crime journey back in 2018 with the Watts case. I came across a story um, on the news and I was hooked. Um, Myself, unfortunately, has been a victim of crime that I have survived, and I am grateful for that. Um, but so, yeah, that catches us up to today. Yeah. So basically, I want to come on here and talk about the Idaho 4. And I know that a lot of people um, have heard the same things, have maybe said the same things. So I know that a lot of things that I'm going to be saying you've heard before. Um, so I apologize for that if you're hearing it again. One second, guys. I gotta let my dogs out. Alrighty. Sorry about that. Okay. So, but anyways, I want to talk about Idaho Fork because now I have been following this case ever since it happened. So this is not me just jumping in like at the very end and it's like, yeah, well, I heard a whole bunch of this. So yeah, this is what I think. From the beginning, I did not think that he did this all by himself, Brian Koberger. Because for one, all the lights were on in that house. Plus, there were 6 students in there. So, I didn't believe one person and one person only committed this crime. I never believed that. Not for a second. And the thing, I am very unbiased. I can see both sides. So when this first came out, like I don't know. I thought that, the roommates knew more, the surviving roommates, and I'm only going to be referring to the surviving roommates as and D, B and D. And I always thought that they knew more. And not only that, like there was a lot of controversy around that 8-hour delay in calling the cops. Okay, that 8-hour delay always kind of grabbed my attention too because it was like, any way you kind of swing it, there's no possible way they didn't know something was going on in this house. Like, now this was before any of the photos were being shown, any videos, anything like that. And then the major thing, the one thing that was said, like, there were no pictures of this at this point yet. They weren't being shown to the public. But you hear the police say that there's multiple areas that are showing signs of a cleanup. So my question is, it's not Xana, it's not Ethan, it's not Maddie, it's not Kaylee. So who cleaned up? B or D, or both? That would explain that 8-hour delay in time. Another thing I do think is a little strange. Okay, I'm trying to think of how to say this. Is okay when the body cam footage pops up, you do not hear Murphy, but then again, you do see him. So never mind. Okay, that was never mind. He was seen in Kaylee's room in a picture. Never mind. So okay, that's out. But like, nobody thought that was weird because the only blood they were seeing was in the bedrooms, other than a couple little droplets throughout the house. But as soon as they sprayed luminol, that house lit up like a Christmas tree. You can't hide that. It is it's impossible. And then the pictures come out. And you're seeing obvious signs of a struggle. There's dents in the walls. There's like you got because they showed the pictures of when they sprayed the luminol and it lit up. Like it was all over. It was all over the kitchen counters and sink. And when you first like walk in the pictures, like before they spray the luminol, like it almost looks like somebody cleaned up and then displayed the dishes in a way where, I don't know, I guess people wouldn't suspect there to be blood or something. I don't know. It was almost like how did they know what would clean up blood? What would get blood out? How would they know? Because they didn't even know about phones, what they could do. Like Dee had no clue that her cell phone could literally tell the cops whether she was awake or asleep. And that was another thing. Like, the girls are saying that they were asleep, but they were both active on their phones the entire time, that 8 hours. And B doesn't say anything when she's questioned by the police that D was in her room. So if D never went in her room, what was she doing? And then you have a neighbor who says they saw D outside the 1122 King Road residence a little after 8 a.m. I thought she was in B's room this entire time. So why is she outside now? It is it's crazy. It's yeah, I don't even know. It's insane. That's all I can say. It's insane. Like, and it has you thinking, like, are these coincidences or are they something else? Because you also can pick out in these pictures, there's 3 backpacks that are found. 2, and they're all black, mind you. So you're thinking about it and you're thinking about Kaylee and Maddie. I mean, I don't know. I don't think they would carry around black plain backpacks. You would think that, they're all bright and happy and bubbly. You think they would want like black backpack. I don't know. Like, but you got 2 backpacks inside, and then you got one that's found outside. So it's leading me to believe that there were 3 people in this house that were committing these crimes. Because for one, if we go back to it was just Brian, okay? We're gonna go back to it was just Brian for a second. We're now when I say this, I want you to make it make sense, okay? So if Brian did this, scratch if anybody else helped him. If it was Brian alone, he's studying criminology. He's got a degree in criminology. He's a TA. He is literally, he's got crime on the brain all the time. Do you really think he's going to? Okay, so he makes up this elaborate plan, and then he drives around the house for like 20 minutes, around the King Road residence for about 20 minutes or so. Maybe not. Like he made 4 passes. So I don't know what time frame, but he made 4 passes, okay? And mind you, there could be other vehicles. We don't know. But he makes 4 passes, and then he's going to go into a house that has the lights all on and has 6 students in. You got 1 against 6 right there. And then you're going to go to the 3rd floor. So you're going to come in the 2nd floor, go directly to the 3rd floor. So basically assuring that anybody who is on the 2nd or 1st floor can escape. You're not going to let that happen. Like, make it make sense. You're not going to create this elaborate plan to fuck it up so terribly. Like, you're just not. And then, like, it's just weird because you got okay, Maddie and Xana worked at this Greek restaurant in town. And you got Dee telling the cops, oh, yeah, well, like, yeah, maybe he met him there. Kind of funny because when they check, his Wi-Fi connected to that restaurant more than once. So how did Dee know that? And also, I don't think it's a freaking coincidence that After D and B move in, this stalking starts to happen. When Kaylee and because Kaylee is talking about a stalker. And that's right around the time when D and B moved in. Look, I am not a believer of coincidences. I'm not. And I think that there's definitely more to this case than meets the eye. I think that people need to come forward whether they're scared or not, because the thing is, for one, B and D stories weren't even matching, because B never once mentioned that D was in her room, like I said. So then where the hell was she? What the? But it's insane. This case is insane. And the thing is, as quick as that house got tore down, and what didn't make, another thing that didn't make any sense is if it was just BK, if it was just Brian Koberger who did this, he killed Xana for seeing him, for witnessing him. Dylan went face to face with him, and he just walks past her and out the door. Nobody's like, oh, he was just tired. I'm sorry, but you wouldn't leave any survivor. And this dude is looking at like Ted Bundy and stuff like that. I'm sorry, but when Ted Bundy went to that sorority house, these girls were sleeping. They were sleeping. Like, he sexually assaulted 2 girls and killed them, and then went to the next room. And these girls weren't even awake. They didn't even know what happened. He could have just left, but he killed them too. And the girl that actually saw him leaving the sorority house, if he would have seen her, she would have been dead too. This is what I mean. It makes no fucking sense. None. And I'm sorry, but if you're going to pull off a plan like this, wouldn't you want, like, the exits covered so nobody got out while you're doing this? Make it make sense. Just make it make sense, because it doesn't. It's crazy. It's insane. Oh boy, I think I have better luck on TikTok. I can't talk crime on TikTok, so I'm stuck on here. But yeah, it's just, when you think about all that stuff that I just mentioned about the cleanup, there's the cleanup, there's the 8-hour delay, there's the fact that we don't even know if D was even in B's room that night. They both lied about being asleep. They're both very much awake and active on their phones. I'm sorry, but the log came up and they weren't too worried about their roommates because you really don't hear anything from them texting their roommates after, like, I think it's 4:25 or 4:33 in the morning until like 8 hours later, and then you see text again. Why? 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 I don't get it. I mean, not. It's literally all there. And another thing is, supposedly there was a fight at the um at the sorority house at Ethan's sorority house, right? My question is, Dee says that she didn't know that Ethan was there that night. Two questions. One, that is a lie because B says that they were all up in Kaylee's room. So, except for D. D wasn't. D didn't go in Kaylee's room. It was B, Xana, Ethan, Maddie, and Kaylee. They were all in Kaylee's room except for D. So the fact that she's saying she didn't know that he was there is a lie. And then when she called his his frat house, well, if she didn't think he was there, why did she call his frat house and ask his roommate to come check on Xana and Ethan? You didn't know Ethan was there, so why? And I'm sorry, but pictures, like, don't lie. Like, there's so many things that are coming out. You got B saying that she did hear a commotion. She heard the table being, like, bumped and the cups being knocked over. There's furniture moved. Obvious signs of a fucking struggle, and then the table is moved against it, and one of the backpacks is right there. Like, I think the other backpack was on the third floor. So my guess, there was somebody on the third floor, there was somebody on the second floor, and there was someone outside. Because the DoorDash driver said that she did see, I don't know, she did see one of the people or something else. I don't know. But I'm really not sure what Brian Kohlberger's role was. I know he was a part of it, but who else was involved in this? Because I'm sorry, you got 6 students and you're going to tell me one person who not only graduated from criminology school, but is a TA now. Smart as fuck. You're telling me that he pulled off the dumbest crime. Like, what? No. There's a lot of wise, and that doesn't make sense, and that's not a coincidence, and shit like that. And now D and B are nowhere to be, like, they completely left the universe. It just, the timeline, when you look at it, it is sketchy as hell. These two surviving roommates move in 2 months before the murders, and then stalking begins as soon as they move in, and all these problems are starting to happen after they move in. It's not a coincidence, I don't think, at all. I think they had somebody on the inside that was feeding them information, where the girls were, what they were doing, shit like that. Someone to give this person their schedule. They needed an insider. They needed insiders. They needed insiders. I think that's what it was, because they needed people on the inside. Now, I don't know if D and B were both insiders, or if B was pretty much brought in to kind of protect D. But that doesn't really make sense, because, yeah. But you bring these girls in, and then, like, all this chaos starts erupting. So, yeah, I do think that there were meant to be insiders to track their every move, where they went, their school schedule, their work schedules, what they did at home, where their rooms were, where to hide. I mean, what was Dee doing when they were all up in Kaylee's room? Now, mind you, you start hearing commotion in that house on the neighbor's ring camera that's 50 feet away from the residence at 1122. You can clearly hear you hear a man's voice, and everybody thought that that was Ethan. I do think that it was one of the murderers, but you hear a man, and you hear, sounds like Xana, or we don't even know, but there's screaming, there's commotion, there's thud, there's a lot of shit going on. So if it's that loud that you can hear it on a ring camera 50 feet away, can you imagine how loud it was inside that house? Just picture that. If you can clearly hear that shit on a ring camera that's 50 feet away, imagine how loud it was inside that house. And the fact that D is like, oh yeah, I thought Kaylee was like singing and playing with her dog. Really? Or was she singing and playing with her dog and then she was attacked? It's like she's trying to tell the story without involving herself or anybody else. It is very, like, you gotta really listen, because she's like, oh yeah, I thought the nurses I heard was just Kaylee singing and dancing with her dog. You know, she was on set. And the thing is, Dee says that she sees Kaylee singing and dancing with her dog on the second floor, or hears, or whatever. I don't know. The thing that doesn't make sense is, first Dee says, I heard Kaylee say, someone's in here, and I jumped up and I locked the door. she also states that she opened her door 3 separate times. Why? Why would you open the door 3 separate times? If I'm hearing screaming and commotion going on in my house, and it sounds like somebody is like committing mass murder, I'm gonna get up, lock my door, call 911. Why was this not done? Why? It wasn't done at all. It was ignored on purpose, you guys. It was ignored on purpose. Even though they tried cleaning it up, they did find unknown male DNA that was not BK's. It wasn't Hunter's, it wasn't Ethan's. So, whose was it? And it looks like a party was taking place the night before, but I guess we'll never know if that's the case. It was the weekend. We know that this house was a party house, so maybe they were taking a break, maybe. But it is hard to believe that nobody came over that night. Nobody came over. Absolutely nobody. Because mind you, there had been times the cops had shown up and not a member that lived in that house was there. But the house would be packed. So obviously you could enter that house easily. Just saying. Don't you think it's kind of weird that the weekend they were killed is the one and only weekend that they didn't party? I'm curious to see. I think the question I would have asked is, I would have asked the person with the Ring camera. I would have been like, can you rewind to see if there was a party that went on the night prior? Because I guarantee there was. But I don't think this question was ever asked. And why, I have no idea. Because the cops were there multiple times. Which leads me to believe the cops knew this was a party house. The cops knew this was easy access. And I do think it's a little funny how I don't know. But yeah, so that is my take on the Idaho 4 murders. I do think that Brian Koberger is where he needs to be, but I do think there is more to the story. I think there's more people involved. it's very hard to believe that there was not a party that took place the night before, because with, I mean, I know they're college students, but you see videos of them, TikToks, and the house is clean. Like for college kids, they get the house clean. The house is a complete disarray. So, like, and the thing is, what I want to know, it's just, it's not a coincidence that that's the only DNA that was found. Literally. It's not a coincidence. But, well, I guess that is it. But that is my take on it. I don't know, let me know, drop a comment on what maybe you might think about it. I just think that there's a lot of coincidences. And I'm sorry I've kind of been all over the place with this. I'm chronically ill. I have a lot of health issues, so I've been really sick. Even though I've been drinking a ton of water, I'm still super dehydrated, so my mind's kind of like all over the place with stuff. But I think it is important to look, to point out the things that just aren't adding up. You got obvious signs of cleanup in multiple areas. You got the both surviving roommates who are lying. You have and changing their stories. There's more to it. There's a lot more to it. And the thing is, you think that, like, I don't know. It's just, it's very odd. I almost feel like somebody who knew how to get rid of blood from the visible eye was there and had a hand in helping in the after factor. But then again, then you got to think, who would know what would get rid of blood? People who are in law, criminology school, people like that, maybe. I don't know. That's the thing. There's so many coincidences. And no, I don't believe in coincidences, and I told you that. There's a lot more going on here. And like I just want these families to have real justice. It's like they're getting partial justice, and I don't feel like that's fair to them. But sometimes you have parents who are in so much pain that when a person is arrested and charged, convicted, sent away, they just want to put it behind them because the pain is so bad. Then you have other ones who say, no, there's too many red flags here in this case. Yeah, you got one, but there's more. And then you got Brian Koberger himself, the day he got arrested, saying, did you arrest the others? I'm sorry, but why is he gonna freaking say that? Like, dude, he pretty much said, okay, you got me, but what about the others? I don't know if he killed anybody or if he was freaking brought in to. I'm thinking he might have. I don't know. I think whoever. I don't know. And he would have worn gloves. But why was he so meticulously cleaning? If he would have worn gloves. I don't know. But he was like a clean freak, right? So, and now you're saying that a clean freak, somebody who washed his hands so much that they were literally red. Like, you're telling me that he came in and like slaughtered like 4 students, covered himself in blood, and that's it? That's another thing. Like, there was no blood found in his car. So that. Mm, and yes, he did order a new knife sheath. And it does, yeah, it does put him there. Now, I'm not denying that he was not in that house. I know he was in that house, but I don't know. What if he was the lookout? I'm just curious. Let's go with that theory. What if he was the lookout? They found his fingerprint on the snap thing. So what if he's a getaway driver and someone says, "Yo, give me your knife," you're gonna grab it. So your finger might touch that clip thing. You grab it, you hand it to him. So maybe that's why the DNA was on there from Brian Koberger, because he was the driver, the getaway driver. Or maybe the lookout. Either the getaway driver or the lookout. Maybe not the getaway driver, because there was no blood found in his car at all. So, he was either the getaway driver or the lookout. And my guess is he was the lookout, because when you're the lookout, you gotta make sure all your angles are covered. So you're gonna go around and around and around. You're gonna loop. The lookout basically stalks. So, what if you have the lookout, who's BK, The insiders that's given all the information, D and B, or D and D and B. Now imagine 3 masked men in your home. I don't know. I don't know. And the thing is, nobody knows what happened in that house. And the thing is, I want to know if the cops ever once asked if a party happened the night before. I don't remember the cops asking that ever in their questioning to B or D or Hunter or nobody. And a lot of people say that, you know, either. And another thing, Kaylee, Maddie, and Sienna, all 3 of those girls had defensive mark. They thought, well, like, I'm not saying that Maddie didn't fight viciously for her life, but her wounds weren't as extensive as Kaylee's was the worst. She was unrecognizable. The anger and fury that came out of this person onto her was insane. It was like this person was so mad at her for either, I don't know, maybe she didn't give him any interest or something like that. A guy with a freaking ego like he had, dude, you heard everybody describe him as, yes, he was smart, but he was awkward. He didn't talk, he didn't have girlfriends. Girls didn't really want to date him. So then it had me thinking, okay, so what if maybe D or B had a relationship with him or paid him some attention or were his friends even? Because Brian Koberger didn't have those. He didn't have friends. Remember? Like, he was awkwardly weird. He creeped women out. Like, yeah, I can definitely see him being a creeper stalker. Like, yeah. And it's not a hard stretch to think that maybe he asked Kaylee out and Kaylee said no. She had a boyfriend. I don't know. It also had me asking, like why? Why was she there that night, Kaylee? Because Kaylee had technically moved out. Now, D originally said, it was originally stated that D had said that Kaylee came by to show everybody her new car. The fact of the matter is, I think D was the one that called her over asking if she wanted to hang out or go out or something in that effect. But Kaylee was called over. I mean, as long as my facts are correct, she was called over. So that was another thing. Like, why? Why was she called over? Like, I think people might have been hiding in certain places. Because you figure at 3:00, I think, they're all up in Kaylee's room except for D. D's in her room doing whatever. which had me thinking, like, what was she doing? Why wasn't she up there with them? But, um, and then it's just the cycle of events. It's like you're trying to piece it together. And the only thing you can come up with is that there were multiple people in that house that night committing these murders. I'm sorry, but I've been deep diving into true crime now ever since the Watts case started. So about 7 years, almost 8 years now. And I have pretty good gut feeling. My gut is like never wrong. That's why, like, when people say you always listen to your gut is pretty much like your second brain. So, yeah, you listen to your gut, and my gut is never wrong usually. Just like with the Watts case, they let NK go. They let her get away with murder. It was very clear she was at the house that night and in the morning, probably the afternoon too. They just let her go. Oh yeah, we'll protect you. I don't know what this world's coming to these days. Like, do they realize that they destroyed these families? Like, do they even care? Like, were they thinking about this at all? I'm just wondering. Because either these are huge coincidences, and I will completely apologize 100% for anything I said about DMB if it's wrong. But I don't think it is. I don't. I think they were feeding whoever did this information. I mean, come on, how else would he know where Xana and Maddie worked? How would they have known how to do a dry one a week prior? How'd they know no one was in the house? Even if the cars were gone, somebody was always in that house, so they just broke open a door, broke into a house, like, freely. They had to have had information that the house was clear. I do think it was premeditated. Um, no, I don't know if maybe D and B's reactions were real. Because maybe they weren't prepared for what was actually going to go down that night. They might have known, but I don't think they were prepared. And I think that that's their involvement. I think they knew what was happening. So I just think that they didn't think that it was going to go down the way it did. Or maybe something got fucked up and maybe all four of them were supposed to be murdered. I don't know. Maybe it was directed to just one person. But it does make me think, like, oh, he hated guys, so, like, he just carved up Ethan's legs. That, I don't know, that just seems something more personal, like carving up someone's legs. That's personal, almost. So, and they had a fight. I guess Ethan had a fight with somebody about, I think, now I'm not positive, but I think I heard it was about DRUGS. I think. I am not positive about that, so don't quote me on that. So, if that was the case, now I don't know if maybe D and B did these, and maybe they got caught up and didn't have a choice. Because sometimes when you're in that world, you don't have a choice. That also could be a reason. They could have known what was going down, but they could be in a world where we just don't know about it. Maybe they're in a DRUG world and their reactions are real, but they're not going to tell you anything. That's why their stories don't match up. That's why none of this shit, none of it makes sense. But I'm gonna get off up here. So it was nice coming on and actually talking about crime again. It's very nice and refreshing. I miss it. But I love you guys.